after leaving Woodford University with Ajith, I got to maintain a relationship with all the guys who worked there, who helped train us. So like when
Yes.
I had questions and I was like back up against the wall, pulling my hair out, my dough was overproofing in the fridge, and I'm like, what is going on, man? I got to call these guys and they would walk me through some steps or give me some advice. That was invaluable to me.
Albert Grande here, talking to Scott on the Big Island, who has a pizza business. And I'm sure you have an interesting story of how you got started. How did you get into the pizza business, Scott?
It was last year. Me and my wife were living in Denver, Colorado, and we were thinking about moving. We were both just kind of tired of the weather, and winter was just wearing down on us. So we chose the Big Island. I have one friend who lives out here, and so we had made plans to move out here to Hawaii. A couple of my friends came to visit us in Denver, and so I cooked for them. I've always loved to cook, and it was real quiet after I served the food. And then one of my good friends said, "Man, you should start a food truck." So I had this idea. We had already made plans to move out to Hawaii, and I was like, how are we going to make friends when we get out there? Like, how are we going to get involved in the community? What am I going to do to stay out of trouble? Like,
Yep.
what am I going to do to stay busy? And we were at a farmer's market in Denver, and I saw this big wood-fired oven and these tables set up with like a tent, and it was right after my friend said I should start a food truck, and I was like, that's it right there. That was the gap that we wanted to fill, and I thought that that would be a good way for us to like make friends, make community, just meet people in general, and have like a purpose here, like have
Sure.
a place where we could fit in and bring some value. So I spent a lot of money on a wood fired oven and all the things that go with it. We came out here with just a hope that people would like the food and that I could do a good job. And then after about 4 or 5 months of struggling with the dough, because it was completely different than Colorado, and sourcing the right flour and everything, I finally came up with a pizza that I was really proud of.
Yep.
And then we, started serving to people up here on the Big Island.
Oh, that's great. That's a great backstory. What company did you buy your oven from? As if we don't know.
Uh, yeah, we bought our oven from Fire Within, and I was able to get in touch with Ajith at Fire Within through the gentleman that we met at that Denver farmers market. So I approached his booth and I said, "Hey, great setup. Where'd you get it?" And he said, "There's a guy in Fort Collins. I think he was in, yeah, Ajith was in Fort Collins at the time." And I said, "Wow, that's convenient," because he didn't get it shipped over from like Kentucky or something.
Right.
And so I called Ajith that day, and he called me back and said, "Well, why don't you come by my warehouse on Monday?" But I got up there like 30 minutes early because I was on this sport bike from Denver to Fort Collins. And I flew up there, and Ajith was like, did not expect you to be here this soon from Denver. And he saw my bike and he was like, "Oh, that makes sense." And we toured the warehouse. I got to see everything, and I think I gave him a deposit on him building us a trailer. Like I just immediately fell in love with the idea, and Ajith was like all about the people that he had already made trailers for. Like
Yep.
he followed their progress. He knew everything about the individual who's running the food truck. He knew everything about their family, about their friends, how they were doing, where they were working. Like it was like a family.
Yep. Yep.
And so yeah, I gave him a deposit and he built us a trailer. It took a couple of months, I think. I forget how long it took, but
Sure.
he built us a trailer.
Yeah.
And
And
then
so the end of the story is you had it shipped out to the Big Island, and that worked out okay.
yeah, yeah. But it got here in one piece, so it
Oh,
was
that's
great.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
So you were interested in a food business. Why did you decide pizza? Why pizza?
I love to cook and I've cooked everything but like probably Asian cuisine. It's just something I've never gotten into. But I love to cook and I hadn't tried pizza yet. I knew it was something that was going to take a lot to master, just like anything, really. Um, and there was like a big gap in the market here as far as I was concerned.
Yep. Yep.
Besides the Four Seasons in Kona, which I think Ajith built their oven for them too, besides the Four Seasons in Kona, nobody else out here did wood fired pizza. Nobody else out here did Neapolitan style pizza. So I knew that there was like a big chance for us to go and show this whole side of the island what we could do, or just people who don't visit the Four Seasons.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
You're bringing the pizza to the people,
bringing the
basically.
pizza to the people. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it is something that's I guess most people think it would be like easy at first, right? Because there's four ingredients in dough. It's like flour, water, salt, yeast. And you would think like, I could get this easy, but it depends on what altitude you're at, what the humidity is, what the weather's doing. There's so much involved. The type of yeast you use, the type of flour you use, the protein content, the W rating, the temperature of your oven, um,
That,
everything, man. And
that's very, very true. I mean, to me, I'm always amazed. It is four simple ingredients: flour, water, salt, and yeast, with millions of combinations and how you do it. And again, depending on where you are, altitude and temperature and weather and all that, it all kind of factors into it. But finally, I guess you were able to craft a dough that you're pretty satisfied with.
I am, yeah. It's soft and crunchy, which
Yep.
I had. We ran the truck yesterday at the Volcano Winery, and there was two different people that came up to us and said this was the best pizza that they've ever had.
Love it. Yeah.
Which most of the comments we get are like, "This is the best pizza I've had on this island," or "This pizza reminds me of this place back in Jersey,"
Yep.
or something like that. But yeah, yesterday we had a little festival up there, and people loved it. And for them to come out of their way to come back to our food truck
Right.
afterwards, it makes me feel good that like
Yep.
all the sleepless nights where I stay up late worrying the night before that the dough is going to overproof in the fridge, or
Right. Right. Right.
it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, no, no. And I I have Grande's pizza postulate that I devised a long time ago, and it is when making pizza, all mistakes are inevitable. You're gonna make some mistakes, you're gonna have problems. So you overcome them. Well, that's great. That's great. And I find that what you mentioned, pizza is a really universal food. Kind of gets the community involved. Really, it's like n nothing else. It really brings people together. Where did you get your training? I'm going to assume that you went to Wood-Fired University.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we went to Wood Fired University in August of 2023. Pretty sure. Yeah, it was like the beginning of August 2023. Our oven was ready. So we got to cook in our own oven for the first time at Wood Fired University. And funny enough, I kind of put the cart before the horse because we came 2 weeks or a week after Wood Fired University. We flew out to Hawaii to look at property.
Yep.
So
Yep.
good thing, good thing it worked out and we were able to find a house. Like a lot of my friends have said, I'm the luckiest guy that I know. I really have a lot of things that I'm grateful for. Didn't know anything about running a food truck. I
Yep.
knew zilch. And I thought I just had this impression that going to Wood Fired University, it would be all about cooking, right? So, like, it would be like, here's how you make the dough, here's how you make the cheese, here's how you
Right.
stretch the dough, which I was excited about because like I said, I love to cook. But what I was grateful for is that it was mostly centered on all the questions that I would have had. So, like, if you're going to start a food truck, you'll figure the food out. But Ajith and his team taught us about it was 80% about how to run the business, how to run the truck, how to set up the truck, how to be successful. Basically, all the stuff that my wife's good at.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
My partner, my wife.
Yeah. Yeah. So
She was
I
really
mean,
into that.
the pizza business is more than just flour, water, salt, and yeast,
It
as we
is.
know. And you're right. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've met that that say, I got a good pizza recipe. I want to get in the pizza business. Well, buddy, you got a long ways to go. It's really it there's certainly a lot more to it. And I guess you are the luckiest guy in the world because it all worked out for you. You went through Wood-Fired University and it really helped get you on track.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without going to that university. Like it answered so many questions that I didn't even know I would have once I started the pizza business. And going there with my partner too was really helpful because the things that I missed, she picked up on. And like I said, she's good at the business side of it. If I had my way, I would just give away pizza for free to all my friends and my
Sure.
neighbors. I
Sure.
wouldn't make any money. I would just break even.
Yep.
Um, but luckily, I have a partner who was like, "No, we're going to charge people, and this is all based off of what Ajith and his team taught us at Wood-Fired University."
Oh, that's great. That's great. You've had quite a quite a bit of adventures in your own life to get to where you are. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I served in the Marine Corps from 2003 to 2007. I was a recon Marine and deployed to Iraq twice, two combat deployments. And when I got out of the Marine Corps in 2007, I went to college. I did well for a few years. And then, like, everything that I had gone through kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And my life kind of fell apart. And I really struggled with PTSD. I tried everything to get through that dark period of my life. So, like, I went to the VA for help. I did recreational therapy with like Team Semper Fi, adaptive adventures. I even moved up to the mountains to work for an adaptive ski place as their like military liaison. And it took me a long time to get back on my feet, to be quite honest, to like be comfortable enough to myself where I like didn't have to drink or do anything else to like
Sure.
feel
Sure.
normal.
Sure.
And once I finally sobered up, well, first it was like I got my shit together as far as PTSD goes, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
I was able to sober up. I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Like I've missed out on a lot of time. It was like I spent a decade in arrested development. I was stuck in a rut, and so after I came out of that period, I was like, what am I going to do? And like I said at the beginning of our conversation, one of the guys who I served with came out to visit me and Emma in Denver, and I cooked for him and some other friends. And he was the one who goes, Scott, man, you should start a food truck. And I have a lot of respect for this guy. And I was like, man, maybe that's it. Maybe that's how I meet people. Cause like I'm really personable. I love making people happy. I love cooking for people. That's where I get my kick out of running the business. Like I said, if I could, I would just give away all the pizza for free.
Sure.
Luckily, again, I have my partner Emma that
And I'd be first in
um,
line. There you go.
takes
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we do have a free. Okay, so what me and Emma figured out is we have a free pizza crew. So I've been able to pick a certain number of people, my good friends, and they get free pizza.
Yep. Kind of friends and
Anyways,
family discount there.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
she keeps me in line. So after my buddy that I served with suggested that I start a food truck, it really got me thinking. And I was like, what a better way to start a new life in a new place is to bring something they don't already have, to be able to make friends, meet people, develop business relationships. So I have like suppliers that I've made contact with who I wouldn't say are like not friends, but they're not
Yep.
strangers either.
Sure.
Also, like what we're trying to do is make everything as local as we possibly can. So now I'm meeting with a dairy farmer out here so we can start making our own cheese
Yep.
because you can't just go buy a $12 gallon of milk to make good fresh mozzarella. So we've been meeting with farmers to see if somebody wants to try to grow a San Marzano style tomato. I don't know if anyone's going to bite, but
No, no. And
we're trying.
let's just talk because we're both residents of Hawaii. And I have to say, getting anything here, let alone working with distributors to have your food stuff here, it's difficult and it costs a lot more money than on the mainland. You're paying premium dollar to get your flour here and if you buy sauce or whatever it is. It's a struggle. It certainly is. But I really like the idea. You're kind of doing kind of a farm to table. You're going directly to local producers and saying, what can we do to partner up and put it on our final product, which is pizza.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly. So I don't think I'll ever get local flour. So that's something that I'm gonna have to constantly bring in. I can get Hawaiian sea salt here. As far as yeast goes, I was thinking about switching over to like a sourdough like
Right.
starter almost.
Yep. Yep.
That way, and then we use Hawaiian rainwater is what we use in our pizza. All the other ingredients is like local pineapples, local everything that we can,
Sure.
everything that we possibly can.
Sure. And just to decide, a lot of people contend that one of the secret ingredients for pizza is the water. And let's face it, we have some of the best water on the planet, without a doubt. And so that's great. At least you're checking off that one box, which is great.
Water just falls from the sky where I live
Yeah, there
constantly.
you
I get
go.
It's kind of sunny right now, but the clouds are moving in as
Right.
usual.
So you live up on in Volcano, correct?
I do. Yep.
Are you worried about any of the activity there at Kilauea?
I don't think so. We get earthquakes like about every week, little ones like magnitude 3. But I also, when I have free time, I lead e-bike tours in the national park.
Yep.
So I read like collegiate science books.
Yeah.
This is like this is like real sober behavior. This
Yep.
is like what I do
Yep.
now. So
Yep.
I'll read like here's a college book that I've been reading lately. It's called
Wow. Okay.
Volcanoes in the Sea, and
Yeah.
it's all about the Hawaiian island chains and the volcanoes. That's all it's about. I've had other like volcanism books, but they talk about volcanoes all over the world. So that one is really exciting. And then I lead tours in there, and I talk about Kilauea and Mauna Loa. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's cool. And incidentally, if people don't know, you're living on the newest Earth on the Earth because the Big Island actually is growing every year, so it's still getting out there, which is fantastic. But I'm glad you're safe. What are some of the struggles that you've noticed doing your pizza truck?
I think it's all like little things that maybe a lot of restaurants go through, right? So like we don't like to waste food, but it's tough to gauge what people are going to buy that day.
Right.
There's almost like this, we've noticed there's like this collective stomach unconscious that people do. So like when we're selling pizza, we usually sell a lot of one pizza and it's never the same. So
Yep.
like
So give me
yesterday,
some
for instance,
examples, Scott. What are some of your types of pizza?
yesterday, for instance, we were all margarita pizzas. And our most popular pizza by far is this pizza we call the Shroomery, which is local oyster mushrooms from Hamakua Farms.
Oh man, I
Um,
love those.
yeah, they're roasted oyster mushrooms from Hamakua Farms, pickled ali'i mushrooms, soy pickled. So it's like soy, rice wine vinegar, a little bit of sugar, water, and then thinly sliced ginger, garlic, and some crushed red pepper flakes. And we pickle
Awesome.
them, and then that
Yeah.
goes on the pizza after. And then there's a garlic cream sauce on that pizza. So it's heavy cream, garlic, butter, and salt and pepper. And then that's the base. And then it gets fresh mozzarella, roasted oyster mushrooms. And then when it comes out of the oven, it gets those soy pickled ali'i mushrooms, which is a type of oyster, but
Yes.
it's $75 a pound
Ab
instead of $8 a
Wow. But
pound.
I got to say, oysters are one of my favorite types of mushrooms to use, and I've used a lot of different kinds. But Hamakua Farms, they're incredible. I mean, you're going right to the source.
Yeah.
They're right from the Big Island.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
so
fantastic.
we're after it gets the soy pickled ali'i mushrooms, then it gets a dribble of balsamic glaze
Yep.
and it's done. And that's our most popular pizza by far. And then we also have like red, like a traditional Italian, which is like a red pizza.
Yep.
So gets a little extra San Marzano tomato sauce, olive oil, and then sliced garlic, and then that goes in the oven. And when it comes out, it gets a little bit of, let's just call it a secret ingredient.
Yeah. Call it a secret ingredient. Hey, Scott, what
Yeah.
advice would you give someone? And I know your business really is in the infancy stages, but what advice would you give to someone that wanted to pursue getting into the pizza business or having a pizza truck?
When you start, just keep doing it because as much as you may not like the way your dough comes out at the beginning, people still like it. I mean, pizza is pretty hard to mess up. It's bread, cheese, sauce, toppings. It's good. I mean, you can burn a pizza, you can drop a pizza on the ground, but for the most part, people's range of what they think good pizza is pretty big. Most people, I should say, they're like
Yeah,
range like, oh yeah,
sure.
yeah, I enjoyed that meal. That was fine. People's range for what they find as an enjoyable pizza meal is really big. Most people. What I think is good pizza is like very narrow, and what I want to give to my customers and feel comfortable charging them money for is even smaller. Like
Okay.
that window of like what I want to give them is even smaller. But when I first started, I couldn't give them what I wanted, like what I felt comfortable with. So I kept beating myself up. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on here. And finding out the science of how to make good dough takes a while. And it's no matter how many recipes you read, maybe you'll get lucky and you'll pick a recipe and it just works for you.
Sure.
But I don't
Sure.
think that's the case for anybody. No matter how many recipes you read, how many you try, it's you have to find your own recipe for your dough.
Yep.
So I got a moleskin or a composition book just like this,
Yep.
and I wrote down everything I did for a dough. I made it, cooked it up, ran the food truck, came back and made notes and made my changes from there. Just remember that one day you're going to get the dough exactly where you want it,
Yeah.
and then don't surrender to it. Just like embrace the process and try not to beat yourself up over because
Yeah. Yeah.
in the end, in the end, I've had customers who come now where I'm like serving my best dough that I've made so far, and I'm really happy with it. And I'll say to them, "Hey, thanks for sticking around since the beginning. I really appreciate it. It's great to have you guys come, especially now that the dough is better, right?" And they go, "We always thought it was good."
Yeah. No. I guess, we are our own worst critic. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's great. And also, to me, pizza's a relationship, and you develop relationships with your customers. Develop relationships with your family and friends. It's a universal peace offering if you want if you want to go that way.
it really is.
So,
And speaking of a universal peace offering, after leaving Woodfired University with Ajith, I got to maintain a relationship with all the guys who worked there who helped train us. So like when
yes,
I had questions and I was like back up against the wall, pulling my hair out, my dough was overproofing in the fridge, and I'm like, what is going on, man? I got to call these guys and they would walk me through some steps or give me some advice. Um, and that was invaluable to me to be able to maintain a relationship with someone where I could call and get some mentorship and get some more confidence and not just pull all my hair out and quit.
sure,
So
sure.
that was another really huge benefit from going to Wood Fired University.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Scott, how can people find you? I know you're on the Big Island. Let's talk about your website,
Yeah.
pizzaono.com.
Yep. Pizzaono.com. And we're also on Instagram. We're pretty active on there. Um, it's just me and my wife that run our food truck right now. Eventually, we're going to have some help, especially once we start feeding the Marines up at the training
Sure,
area.
sure.
Um, and our Instagram handle is pizza.ono.
Okay,
Pizza.ono.
okay. Scott, hey,
And
thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And when next time I'm on the Big Island, you know where I'm going to come. That sounds great.
thanks very much. I appreciate it, Albert.